Awareness Month. May is the time to raise awareness and reduce the stigma surrounding behavioral health issues, as well as highlighting the ways how mental illness and addiction can affect all of us, patients, providers, families, and our society at large. So I thank you all for coming out as we continue the conversation around mental wellness. And at this time, what I will do is I want to bring up our state's attorney, Aisha Braveboy, because I do know that mental wellness is part of her platform as well. And I would like for her to give some greetings and some words to everyone. Thanks.
Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry. I also want to thank Mr. Dwayne Brown for bringing this film to us. It is so important that we continue to highlight the issue of mental illness, which impacts all of us, every single one of us. And I encourage everyone to have a counselor, have a therapist, no matter where you are, how highly you may be performing in life. Oftentimes we forget about our own mental health and our well-being. But as the top law enforcement officer, I see how mental illness impacts families. In fact, mental illness has led to several tragedies. And so we are very focused on continuing to highlight this very important issue. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. But to be honest with you, it's a subject that we should talk about every single day. So again, thank you to this amazing town, Bladensburg. Let's give it up for Bladensburg. As well as Dwayne Brown and all of the actors who participated in this film, and everyone who was a part of the production, and also the Prince George's Playhouse. This brings back old memories. I used to dance on this stage as a child, so it's great to be back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, State's Attorney Braveboy. At this time, will Deacon Givens make her way up to the stage, please? Thank you so very much. And there's some other elected leaders in the House. I know Delegate Diana Fennell. Yes, Senator Malcolm Augustine, who's one of the panelists as well. Thank you all. All right, are there any other elected leaders in the audience? Excuse me, the lights shining in my eyes. Any other elected leaders? Okay, Deacon Givens. Okay, you are in the right place. All right, well, Deacon Givens, she's going to come up and she's going to give us a prayer.
Let us bow our heads, please. Father God, thank you so very much for allowing us to be here one more time, to do your bidding, to follow your instructions, and to be kind ye one to another. Continue to guide us, direct us, and protect us. These blessings we ask in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. With one voice, let us say together, Amen.
Before we start the screening, a couple of, like I said, some housekeeping things. If you all, once we finish, I would like for you all to give microphones at the end of each aisle to come down, line up, and to ask questions. This is an interactive session, so we want everybody to make sure you get the information. And also, we do have our vendors outside, the National Alliance of Mental Wellness, the PM Foundation, and America's Jewels Healthcare. So make sure, if you haven't done so, that you go by their booths and pick up some good information. Also, the town of Bladensburg, if you haven't received your raffle ticket, make sure you stop past the town of Bladensburg booth to get your raffle tickets, okay? All right. So, Delegate Fennell, do you have something? Would you like to come up at this time? Thank you. Oh, come this way. Thank you, and I know that we just running a few minutes behind time, so I know there were some presentations and a few other things that they wanted to do, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to make that happen while we're all still here. So how's everybody doing? Y'all feeling okay? All right, y'all looking mighty fine out there, I tell you that. All right, that's right. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah.
First of all, I want to give honor to God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Brown and the town of Bladensburg for bringing this phenomenal event to the community, because we all need to be aware of mental illness. It is in everybody's family, everybody's family. And one of the things that it was a stigma of our family, which was the Black community, we used to hide it. We cannot hide it. We need to make sure that we address it. It is very important that we address it, no matter what. And I thank you. And I thank each and every one of you for being here. Thank you. Delegate Diana Fennell.
Since Councilmember Brown brought Delegate Fennell up and myself, Senator Malcolm Augustine proudly represents you, District 47, here in the State Senate. And we, as a delegation, acknowledge the importance of this this month. And so we have a citation, Trina, for the town of Bladensburg. The Maryland General Assembly official citation. Be hereby known to all that sincerest congratulations are offered to the town of Bladensburg in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month in support of this quiet yet dangerous health problem. While it affects everyone, only a few will suffer from it. Let's break the silence of mental health for good. Presented on this 29th of May 2024 by myself, Senator Malcolm Augustine, Delegate Diana Fennell, and Delegate Julian Ivey. And so we're grateful for this program and for the work that you do. Thank you.
All right, well now, moving along the program, we are going to have a presentation from our cultural artist, Nana Malaya Rucker.
The trouble I've seen, nobody knows my sorrow. What you looking at? Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home. You never know sometimes what people are going through, why they feel bad. There might be something going on in their own life. But the world out here is messed up. There's a whole lot of stuff. It ain't happening in my life, just some other things just make it really, really hard to keep going every day. Some folks don't have their families. Some folks don't have no community. Some folks ain't got no love. But you know what? There's always one. beneath the sun. Who's gonna make you feel that way? There's been some phrases that make me feel better. And one of them used to be, don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Y'all heard that one? Yeah. What other one y'all heard? Call them out. Say, let me hear one. Hang in there. That's right. Hang in there. That's right. I am enough. How about that? Yeah. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, that's why we have those songs, to give us hope, to give us motivation, to give us inspiration to keep going. You think it's rough now. What do you think it was like a long time ago? Yeah. But you know one I think about? I like this one. Nelson Mandela said, it's only impossible until it is done. You know what I'm saying? Just think about all the things that used to be said it was impossible to do, and it's been done. Now a few times, yes. Well, I remember these words from Nelson Mandela. He said, sometimes it's our light, not our darkness, that can frighten us. Who are we to be so wonderful, so marvelous, so fabulous? Well, it's not just in one of us, it's in all of us. That light for you to shine. And you know what? When you let your light shine, you give other people permission to do the same. They get the inspiration. And if all of us had a candle, or if I had the only candle, if I let each one of you light your candle for mine, my candle wouldn't be any less. In fact, the room would be filled with even more light than it started out. So we gotta let our light shine, even because you know, from the darkness comes the light. Come to the light, beautiful light. Come where the dewdrops are shiny and bright. Shine all around us, by day or by night. You know the song? Love is the light of the world. Come on. Come to the light, sing it, beautiful light. Come where the dewdrops are shiny and bright. Shine all around. Sing it, y'all. One more time, love. Love is the light of the world. Because when you let your light shine, you give other people permission to do the same. And if you ain't got your light, go to somebody and see if they'll share theirs. And if you don't have yours, go and look for that light, because it's shining somewhere. That light is shining somewhere. Y'all know that song. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine well. This little light of mine, yeah, there you go. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine again. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Seek out the light. It's there. Seek it out. Find it. And if you know someone who needs it, help show them to the light. Yeah, y'all got it. It takes community to help other folks. It takes a village. We started that. It takes a village. It takes a village. Come to the light, beautiful light. Where the blue lights are shining and bright.
Good evening, and welcome to the Publick Playhouse. At this time, we ask that you silence your cell phone and any other electronic devices. Please take a moment and note the location of the nearest exit. In case of an emergency, please walk calmly to the exit. During the performance, all photography and video recording are strictly prohibited. We thank you for your cooperation and invite you to visit us online at arts.pgparks.com and on Twitter and Facebook.
Sincerely, John.
get going and get moving and doing what you doing. Now, you know, I got the inner loop and the outer loop covered, all the way from Oxon Hill to wherever, how you feel. I got the real appeal, and that's the deal. You know what's going down. We got a great day ahead of you, so I need you to get up, get going, and get moving. Joe Claire live in the morning time. You know how we do Prince George's County. Let's go.
Feel like going to work at all. You know, I was very
That's all you got.
Joe? Is it you?
Hello, woman.
It's Barbara Jean. You remember me? You helped me out about 20 years ago. Joe, come on, let me get you.
Hey, you crazy? Leave me alone, just go away.
Is there a problem here, man? That's old Joe. Yeah, he's been a fixture around here for a couple of years now. What do you want with him?
I just want to get up off the street and get him something to eat.
Not going in there. Not going in there.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
This is
He's supposed to be on medication, but he never takes it.
Try whispering about it.
Whispering about?
trying to get you off the street and get you something to eat.
I said I'm not going in there. I said I'm not going in there. Yeah. Come on, lady. No. Come on, officer, no. Come on, Joe. Officer, no. Look, calm down, man. Calm down. Look, she's helping you, Joe. She's trying to help you, man. She want to You don't want your money, man. You don't want your money. Yes, you can. Just trying to help you, Joe. Look, this is gonna be good for you, man. She's trying to help you, Joe. Look, she's not gonna take your money. Look, she's trying to help you, Joe. Come on now.
Don't want to go. I don't want to go in here. No, I don't want
Look,
to go
man,
in here.
I need you to calm down.
I don't want to go in here.
I need you to calm
It's
down.
gonna be okay. Would you like to join us for a meal and a cup of coffee?
No, I'm on duty, but thank you.
How about a cup of coffee with people?
Hey, that'd be nice.
Okay, thank you. Come on. Come on. Come on. We're good. We're good. I'm with you. Do you remember me?
I don't think so. But you look familiar.
I was a lot younger when you used to work here. I came through those very doors. I was cold and hungry. I came here after college. I was looking for a job, and I couldn't find work. And then lost my apartment. I was down to my last few cents. I walked the streets for days. It was February. It was cold. I was nearly starving. And I saw this place. And I walked in on chance that I could get something to eat.
I remember, I was working over there behind the serving counter, and you came in and you asked if you could work to get something to eat, and I said it was against company policy.
Then you gave me the biggest meal that I've ever seen. And you gave me a cup of coffee. And you told me to go over and sit in that corner table and enjoy. I was concerned because I thought you was going to get in trouble. But then I saw you put the price of the food in the register. I knew that everything was going to be all right. I actually got a job the next afternoon. And I worked my way up through the company. And eventually, I did start my own business. By the grace of God, I prospered. But life took a turn. Three years ago, I was diagnosed with lymphoma. It's been a rough 3 years. I went through chemotherapy. And at one point, I thought about giving up my career. But after 3 years of remission, I just give God glory. What about you?
You wanna know about old Joe? Well, I got diagnosed with schizophrenia about 2 years ago. And been taking medication ever since. I lost my job. And eventually my place. Since I couldn't afford my medication no more, I've been just stuck here dealing with it all alone.
Look, when you finish here, I want you to go see Mr. Parker. Pay him a visit. He's the HR director of my company. he may be able to find some funds so that he can advance you a little. So that you can go and get you some clothes and find you a place to stay until you can get on your feet.
How can I ever repay you?
You don't have to repay me. You thank God because God sent me here to you. If it wasn't for you those years ago, I wouldn't be here today to help you. Listen, my doors are always open if you ever need anything.
You got a card?
I do. Here.
Miss Bob, Virginia Cole Williams.
Mm-hmm. You give me a call. Come by my office.
Help me. Thank you. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I can't leave. I can't leave out here. I gotta go. I gotta go. Let me out. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Thank you, officer, for helping me today.
On the contrary, Miss Williams, thank you. Hey, I saw a miracle today. I mean to see something I'll never forget. And thanks for the coffee.
Oh, you're welcome.
Noting still a very active situation. My Sears Cloud, which are the pretty white satellite picture. It's standing like this. It's right. This is the picture. People are there is
Oh, now you wanna go? I wanna talk to you. I'm trying to talk to you. I don't wanna talk. Stop calling me. I'm tired and I'm done.
We had a county of
I can't do this. I just can't do this. I have to do something. That's okay that nobody's listening to me. He's not listening to me. You're still screaming. Why are you still
24 hours ago. Then they set up an outdoor vestry, a bit of a windshield line to the south of the river, came in against the south
You won't stop screaming. You won't stop screaming. I'm done. I'm done.
Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, mental wellness is very real. So we just want this to open the conversation because it's important that we continue the conversation. And at this point, what I'm going to do is I would like to have our panelists, if you have not done so, move over to my left-hand side. Probably your right-hand side if you're my because we're going to have the panelists come up, and I'll just move over to my left-hand side, and we'll have the panelists come up as we continue the conversation. I would like to thank Director Dwayne Brown. Let's give him a round of applause. Where are you? Why don't you come over here? I'm gonna just give you a little bit of background on the filmmaker, director Dwayne Brown, and also screenwriter, born and raised in Prince George's County. So he's a native Prince Georgian. So yeah, let's give him a round of applause for that. Although he had nothing to do with that. No, we still want to applaud him. A 4-time Telly Award winner for producer, director. He sheds light on mental health and cancer awareness with this film. And The Untold Secrets, The Flip Side. So that's the name of the film, Untold Secret, The Flip Side. He finds a way to create his own avenue to capture topics to further educate the community by bringing them to the big screen. The takeaway is to spark those conversations and provide tools to help those who may be caretakers, friends, and or families to help support those who are challenged by these topics. So not only does the film touch on the topics of mental health, but cancer or wellness as well. You can come on across the stage, Mr. Jones. Come on, you can come on across the stage. You want to sit there? Okay. Because I was gonna ask you some questions. There's a microphone right there in front of you. Someone to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. Yeah. So.
Test 1, 2, test.
All right. So why did you become a filmmaker?
Sorry, said it.
I said, why did you become a filmmaker?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you can't.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. First of all, first give it honor to God. And I have to thank everyone in the audience for coming here today. Being an artist, as you know, we're sensitive about our art, but I want to say to all my friends who I haven't seen in a while, relatives, I want to say thank you. This moment, coming, like you said, coming to the Playhouse, and those type of things is just an honor. The way I came as a filmmaker, the young lady who's the character, Barbara Jean Cole Williams, is my aunt. And she lived in LA, California. And my aunt is in the back, my Aunt Clara is in the back right there. And went to Universal Studios at age 9 years old. And once I went there, there's nothing else I wanted to do with my life. There's only 2 things I was gonna do. Play in the NBA or be a film director. And I was blessed with both. I worked for the NBA. I worked for the NBA for years. And God blessed me to be a filmmaker and be able to tell our story.
Great. Now, tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to make this film.
Well, when I was making this film, I said I would try to hold it together. When I was making this film, I was in a very, very dark place. I was losing my mom, and I lost all my grandparents to cancer coming up. And when you're young, you don't know what it is. You know, the grandparents try to hide it from you when they're ill. And as I got more into the filmmaking and with the script I put together, I was in a very dark place. It was during the pandemic. My mom was sick, and I was hoping that my mom would have seen this to the end. But some of the issues that I was going to bring out and talk about coming up, I told her that I didn't want her to know about it, but because I was brought up in a very difficult situation as well that a lot of our family members don't know about. But the thing about it, on the cancer side, I lost all my grandparents to it. And the mental health part was something I wrote as a fictitious character. And I just wrote the character. And I wanted to be something, make a film that could educate our community. And this character took place, and then after losing my mom, I was in a dark place, so I had to reach out for some assistance as well that a lot of people don't know. So making this film really saved me as a person. And being able to do it, I went through the struggles of doing it. A lot of my friends know it, I'm not gonna get into the particulars. You know, making it, stopping. So that's how I really came up with this topic. And being in this theater and seeing the people here to share this, it's a blessing.
Thank you so very much. A couple more questions. How did you come up with the feature title, and what's next?
Good question. I played with like several titles. Untold Secret is because, and I keep referring to my aunt back there. It's a blessing she's here. In families, we have untold secrets. We just do. We have untold secrets. And I use that as a title, and then the base is the flip side, is because one person could be dealing with one thing, and the other person could be dealing with another. So I prayed on the title. My casting director, we was on the phone one night, and we was playing with the title, and I said, what about this, and what about that? What about that? She said, well, Dwayne, oh, I like that. The flip side. And then I said, well, it's secrets. She said, what about untold secrets? So I played with that, and that's when we got the title. But I wanted to, not only that, it's 3 phases of it. My next film, as you saw the trailer, don't ask what happens, you gotta come back and see it. So basically, a lot of these films have basically touched a little bit of my life and what I've gone through. And the third one is going to be Untold Secret Shona, which is dealing with a family with a mom with dementia. And God bless, I have an aunt that's 104. And I've seen the stages of how it's taking its toll in those days. So not get long-winded. And I want to be able to come out and so we can talk about it. And let God take it where it's going to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so very much for that. And don't remember, we have 2 microphones, so we definitely, this is participation, as I'm about to introduce the rest of our panelists here, but this is participation. We want you to come up to the front, ask questions. You know, no questions, all questions are good. So we want that interaction for you all. So formulate your questions as I go down my list and introduce the other panelists we have.
Before you start, I like to say, excuse my manners, I want to say thank you to the town of Bladensburg for giving me this opportunity to be in this wonderful place to show my art. And a special thank you to Ms. Councilwoman, Ms. Trina Brown, for approaching me and bringing this project to the stage. So let's give her a wonderful hand.
So we have these wonderful panelists here, and what we are doing today, we wanted to have the director, the film director, then we have the social worker, we have the psychiatrist, we have the state represented here, and also our chief of police, and also our community officer as well. So we wanted this to be well-rounded, and we're gonna have them talk about, like the police chief, he's gonna talk about how it impacts the police officers and what happens when they come upon someone who's having a crisis. Our state senator, he's gonna talk about what state resources that are available, because this is true and passionate to our state senators from near and dear to his heart as well. We have Mr. Oscar Morgan. He's going to talk about some of the other wraparound services, and please make sure that you all have questions for our panelists. And Dr. McKenzie, she's Dr. McKenzie, she's a psychiatric and mental care. So she's gonna talk around that. And then we have Ms. Lynn Bush here. She's our social worker. So she's gonna talk about some of those services, and she works with young people as well. And so and our CAT team, as a matter of fact, where Acting Sergeant Tanksley, where are the explorers? I know they're in the audience somewhere. Where are they? Explorers? Yeah, so we're gonna have the Bladensburg explorers. So we definitely want our explorers to come up. Do we have 4 or 5 more seats up here for our explorers to come up? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, how many more seats do we have up here for our explorers to come up and join us? You all can stay where you are. Okay, all right. Come on, give them a round of applause as they come up, because definitely one of the things we want to do is make sure that we have engagement with our youth. Because we definitely want them to continue the conversation with us. So I will just read, give you a little background on everyone. So Senator Augustine, some of his experience, he has an AB in government from Harvard University. As you all know, he is the senator of 47th Legislative District. He is our senator. And there are a whole myriad of accolades that come with him. He's also a father and a husband, and of 2 beautiful young girls. So let's give Senator Augustine a round of applause. We have Mr. Oscar Morgan. Please raise your hand so they'll know who you are. Mr. Oscar Morgan, he has a degree in Healthcare Services Administration, in Healthcare Administration from George Washington University, and he is the Executive Director of the Dana Institute. Thank you so much for joining us as well. I thank all of you panelists for joining us. Dr. Yvonne McKenzie, as I said, she was born and raised in Washington, D.C. She is dedicated and a compassionate leader in psychiatric and medical care, holding a doctorate degree from the University of Massachusetts Global, with a wealth of experience spanning over 14 years as a licensed and board certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner and family nurse practitioner. She is committed to providing comprehensive care to individuals of all ages. So let's give Dr. McKenzie a round of applause for joining us as well. And then Acting Sergeant Tanksley, he is our community action, he's our community police officer. So everybody in the community, they know Sergeant Tanksley. And he really does a great job with getting out there in the community, making sure that there are activities, making sure that he's touching the community in a positive way, and making sure that our children as well get to see police officers in a positive light as well. I like to kind of call them our officers friendly. Along with our other officers as well, but he has the community action team, the Bladensburg Explorers, and Straight Talk with Teens, and also the Citizens Police Academy. So if you all get a chance, ask him about some of those, the Straight Talk with Teens and the Citizens Police Academy. As a matter of fact, I think next week we have a graduating class coming up from our Bladensburg citizens who have participated in that Police Academy. Ms. Brandy Wynn, she's a dedicated licensed clinical social worker specializing in trauma-focused therapy with her private practice. Since 2009, she has owned and operated her practice, offering compassionate care to individuals navigating trauma. Mrs. Wimbush has an integral part of Prince George's County as a crisis response team member, providing critical trauma response services following various crises such as suicides, homicides, natural disasters, terrorist attacks, and child fatalities. So let's give Chief Collins, and he was hired by the Bladensburg Police Department in 2018, and I think you went to Bladensburg High School too, did you, Chief? I don't want to tell your age now. Went to Bladensburg High School, yes. So he serves as our chief of Bladensburg Police Department, has over 29 years. Yeah, you can go ahead and clap that. Has over 29 years of law enforcement experience. So, and he's also a retired U.S. Army veteran after serving over 22 years, where he retired as a senior non-commissioned officer. So thank you for your service as well. All right. And we have our young explorers. So we'll give you all an opportunity to introduce yourselves, okay? All right, when Mr. Tanksley come up. So please come up. Are there any questions before we would like to take questions from the audience? Are there any questions? All right, come on, let me say, yeah. Good evening.
My name is Alicia Rucker. I want to thank the council member for inviting me. What you see before you, with respect, is the impact of unresolved mental health issues. So, for every parent in this room, I want you to just be aware when your child turns about 18, be on the lookout for strange behaviors. Behaviors, if they don't look right to you, get some help for your child. The other thing I want to do is thank the police officers, the lawmakers. You all are important because you see it every day. Unchecked, unresolved mental health behaviors can come from anywhere. This is my grandson. Say hi to him and that's it.
So tired, I'm so tired.
The reason I came up is because I want to thank you all for just highlighting this issue. Mental health crises, exacerbations can happen at any time to anyone. So thank you for what you're doing. Thanks, Councilwoman Brown.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming out. So what I will do, we have someone else coming down? Absolutely. How are you this evening?
Hello. I have braces. I have to say that this mental health awareness film taught me how to, with the people around, to give them what they needed as far as for mental health people who are in tucked away places and they don't come out, but this awareness mental health day that was given from the town of Bladensburg really helps the ones that are with mental health but not without mental health. So people with mental health, they are all these people helping them, and the types of places that they're at. They don't have to worry about nobody not doing anything. We have this awareness mental health. We have National Alliance of Mental Health Illness, NIH, in DC, and all the other psychic units in the hospital working day and night, 24 hours. The new one in Largo, and the new one in Laurel. They all are the ones that are tucked away in those places. They all are people working around the clock, helping them and helping them, so they don't have to be in those places without any assistance. They got the town of Bladensburg. They got that film that they missed, but all people here, the line of people here, and myself being knowledgeable about mental health, a whole bunch. And I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to thank everybody for giving mental health a chance.
Yes, absolutely. The panel like to chime in. The panel like to chime in.
Can you all hear me? Yes. The first woman, I just want to say thank you first for sharing. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. First and foremost, thank you for sharing that and highlighting that. I do want to touch on what you said. You're absolutely right. We start to see certain things early, but it becomes very indicative when they're about 17, 18 years of age with certain diagnoses. I don't really love the word illness, is not my favorite word, but I will say certain diagnoses. For example, bipolar mood disorder, schizophrenia, some of the others will be highlighted at that time, but a lot of other things happen much earlier, the ones that are much more common, like anxiety, depression, those kind of things. So we will see a lot of those things earlier, but thank you for pointing out that age group. That's one of the things I was taking away and I was taking notice of in the film is, you know, Joe was clearly older when he was diagnosed and identified, and so clearly he had been untreated for a very long time, but it should have been probably identified between 18 and 22. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Would you also highlight, there are a lot of people lost to follow-up. Those people we see walking in the middle of the street as if they're a car. Those people we see at McDonald's who are begging for a meal, I'm not highlighting God, I'm not bragging, I'm just pointing out. Those people that we feed, they probably haven't had a meal in years, well, not years, but in a long time. And when people haven't eaten in a long time, they start to hallucinate. They start to do things that if it were a quote unquote normal person, we're all normal and abnormal, something can happen. And some people out here on the streets are very mean. So I want to thank everybody who's taken the time to listen, lend a hand, or help somebody who looks different than them, who is going through something. Because we could all go through something anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Mr.
Can I chime in on that? Just give you some reference. When I was doing this film, I did a lot of research while riding around and looking at, I don't like to use the word homeless, but I mean people who are out and about. And what you have to understand is, I wanted to open up so people can understand they're there not by choice.
Correct.
You understand?
Correct.
When you walk in out in the street, you got people who have PhDs that's living on the street. You got people who have masters and college degrees, or they was up top at one time. And like I wanted to show in this film, as the character, he was at the top. He ran, he was good. He was all good. Until he stopped taking his medication. And what I wanted to show in the film is, it's just like when you go to the doctor, when you have a cold, you take an antibiotic. What they do, they tell you to take it for 10 straight days. But after the 5th day, you start feeling good, you stop taking your antibiotic. So this is what you have to understand about these individuals. They start taking the medication. Some of them may have some effects from it. And some of them say, oh, I feel good, and they stop. And it starts to be a small effect. So that's why I want to have these conversations. And when I was making this movie and I did my research and I was looking at people on the street saying, that person right there could have a PhD. You understand? So I want people to open their minds and keep that when you out the street now and see somebody on the street, There's a reason. It's just not they just want to be there. They just can't deal with the situation they're in. So I just want to have that discussion with my panel, open it up and get it going.
Yes, also, I would like to say, Dr. McKenzie is my name once again, and I have a practice in which I am glad to say there are many people, I would say maybe 20 to 30 years ago, who did not want to step up and say, I have a mental illness, or I have a problem that may be affecting my family, my friends, my job, my children. But now today, we are stepping up. Finally, we are making it not only a quiet storm, but we're bringing it out and letting others know that we may have a mental illness. It is not a stigma. It is not something that should be looked at as a bad thing. It is a struggle that we struggle with every day. And there's ways in which we can get around it, ways in which our families can finally say, let's work together. Medication is not a bad thing either. There are some side effects to some of them, most of them, but all of those things can be worked out. But wouldn't it be nice to say, I feel good today. I don't feel depressed, I don't feel anxious, I just feel good. And that comes with family involvement and just a simple look at where I am today and how I can change myself if I feel bad, how I can turn it around and feel good. Think about it. We're here for you, is what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Another question?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Dejanae Fennell, and I just want to say I really enjoyed the short film.
Excuse me, Trace. Can you fix that mic for her so it was on the floor and raise it up? Right here. Yeah, bring it down. Bring it on the floor. On the stand. Bring the stand on the floor. And then raise it up for her. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hello, everyone. Hi. So my name is Dejanae Fennell, and I just want to say I really enjoyed your short film. But the question that I wanted to ask, it has to do with discrimination towards mental illness. I noticed that the main character stated that after he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, that he lost his job. Now, it's just my interpretation, maybe he lost his job because he told the manager or something like that, so I'm not sure. I don't know the backstory. But I just want to kind of ask a question about what are some protections that people who may have a mental illness, when it comes to discrimination, is there anything that's in place? Is there any type of protection that they may have when it comes to employment or even housing?
So I'm so honored to be sitting next to Dr. McKenzie, feeding off of each other. So from a legal perspective, you can't discriminate against someone for having a mental illness diagnosis or whatever happening. Now, what is true though is, are you able to perform that job? So that's pretty much a job discussion that needs to happen. Your mental health is private, and that happens with you and your practitioner. And you should be very aware, like, what you can and cannot do. If it's getting in the way of what you're supposed to do, that's probably gonna create some problems. Now, what I will say is some of the information that was probably not in my bio is that I also work with active duty service members and their families. So in that field, there are certain diagnoses that you would not be able to perform that duty, and you're just not gonna be what we call mission ready. So there are specific things that would probably rule you out of those kinds of jobs. However, it goes back to exactly what Dr. McKenzie said. There is a need to be medicated, particularly with certain diagnoses. And a lot of times in our communities, we have learned some really unfortunate things about it, which is why it's stigmatized. So culturally, we don't necessarily subscribe to it. From spirituality, religious perspective, there's some implications there. But the reality is, you wanna feel good, you wanna be able to manage, you wanna be able to perform and be productive, you are gonna need medication management. But the reality is some positions you're not gonna be able to do it.
Absolutely, and that goes into my next question as well, because he stated after he lost his job, he was unable to afford his medication. So is there any way that when you do have someone who is diagnosed with a mental illness, there's some type of assistance in which they could pay for their medication so that they won't, I guess, have the effect of their mental illness, if that, that makes sense.
So your questions are amazing, I must say. Medications are extremely expensive. And so, especially any that we're referring to, right? So when you have a psychiatric diagnosis, those medications cost a lot more. Hopefully most people have insurance, but if they don't, it comes down to programming and what community resources we have. And I was taking notes as I was watching the film, like touching on different things that I was seeing in that film. But you're absolutely right. One of the biggest things that is like problematic is access. So when I hear our representatives in this room, our delegates, our senators who we're voting for, etc., a lot of times mental health does not, I don't hear it at the top of their list. So I ask that question all the time. Like, how are you going to create access? I would be remiss not to say there's a lot of people in here that are either educators or mental health providers or some kind of community support in some way. And a lot of times we go to support the people we work with and there aren't any resources. And so that is problematic. So yeah, it is problematic. So there's things that are in place, but it's sometimes hard to get the access.
Thank you for that. And then also, I have a question.
Well, can you,
for,
one second, we want, Senator Augustine.
I was just gonna get to Senator Augustine, but yes.
But no, but
thank
you can still let him
Yes.
right now, then we can come back to him.
Sure, I'll be happy to just chime in a little bit.
I don't think we can hear you, sir.
Use outdoor voice.
Is this one not on? Yeah, I can also use the outdoor voice for sure. So just what I will, there's a lot actually that I have to say about all of this, but I'll start with what you just shared about the elected officials not concentrating or thinking about behavioral health. And I'll say to you that I know that we do in Annapolis. It's a complicated matter, it's a complicated issue that we work very hard to do a better job with. There are things like the Parity Act, which says that you can't treat behavioral health different than you do physical health. And it's not the legislators, we have passed laws and we have passed where we make sure, or we work to try to make sure that the insurance folks live up to that, but they don't. So we have done that, and we're constantly trying to press on the insurance folks who pay the bills to allow for and to provide the services that people need. We also know that there's a shortage on the providers themselves. Part of that is driven by the fact that we don't pay them enough. And so we know that these are complicated issues that we have to really work with. But I also wanted to just say something about the film. Thank you to the producer at the end who put it on. But there were some things in there that for me, I just have to say. One is that in this instance, the gentleman is a little bit different in that he was diagnosed. Most times people aren't diagnosed when they are on the street like that. They're living with it. They may be using alcohol and other things to self-medicate. They are not actually involved often in the space. And usually when people are diagnosed and they have been identified and they are able to get to medication and they are with a professional, they can in fact live that life that we want them to live. And I would want that actually to be a message that we take away from this conversation, which is that if you are able, first of all, it's no different than I have high blood pressure. I have to take medicine for it. Like, it's not gonna go away, it's hereditary, as is some of the things that have been passed down to us as Black people, some of the trauma that we live with that's within us, that changes us neurologically, that makes us more inclined to some of the mental illnesses that are out there. Those things are within us. We will need medication in order to be able to live our full lives, but we can, in fact, do that. And so I think that it's important that we are here, we are breaking the stigma, the discussion around the stigma that's associated with it, but to know that there actually is, there are good outcomes. If we are willing to step up and say, hey, I'm not, something's not quite right with me from a mental health standpoint, and I need to get some help. That help is there, and it really can lead to allow for people to live a very full and fulfilling life, and particularly if they are able to be diagnosed, able to get on medication that works for them. I just think that's very important that we all kind of come away from that we need to be open to getting the help that we need, and that will allow us to live our full lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Augustine. I think you answered the question that I had down for you. I just kind of wanted you to touch bases on a bill that you passed in the state for 988.
I did. Yeah, so there's a few different pieces of legislation that we did work on. Thank you, Dejanay. That's a layup, y'all. Dejanay. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, so, but she's right. So one of the pieces of legislation that I worked on a couple of years ago is to create a trust fund so that we fund 988. For those of you in the audience that don't know, if you dial 988 on your phone, you will be connected to a behavioral health specialist. It's for crisis. It's for people who are in a crisis. Just like the trailer that the gentleman had for his next film, that woman was in a crisis. If she were, and sometimes she can't do it, it can't just be you, it could be family members as well. You call 988 and you are connected with someone to help you with crisis. The good news about 988 also is that it also is available to folks who want to text. So a lot of people who want to text, a lot of the folks are getting that connection and they're getting attached to people in that way. And so we did pass legislation to make sure that, and oftentimes now you'll see sometimes riding around on buses, you'll see 988. We need to talk about that. That's a resource for us to be able to access, to start the conversation, to begin the access to mental health services and in connection to people who can help us through. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, we have another question.
Thank you. First, I want to say, Dwayne, thanks so much for producing the film. Dwayne and I go way back. We go, kindergarten probably. The one thing I wanted to just touch on is I've actually been involved with two individuals that I'm very close to over the past 3 years who were actually going through crisis. And it was scary, one. But two, it was, where do I start? And I know this person, they're right here in front of me, and there is really nothing I can do. So I called and I talked to people. I'd gone through like NIH, and I'd gone through one of the local crisis numbers. And one of the suggestions was, we'll just call the police. And I was like, oh, I'm not so sure I would do that. And no offense to the officers that are on the panel, but for me, it felt like if I were to introduce police officers into a situation which is really someone that's having a crisis, as a Black man, I just couldn't reconcile that with myself. So I took him to an emergency room, and there he was able to get, actually both of them were able to get treatment. But I just wanted to ask the question, just specifically for the law enforcement officers that are on the panel. You know, what is the protocol for that initial interaction, and is it really the best option for a loved one to make that call to the cops first, and then to the police officers first, and then kind of let them take it as they will? I'm a control freak, so that didn't set well with me.
Thank you for that.
So I just want to say thank you for that question. Very, very good question. Oftentimes, we are called when people are in a crisis. And one thing I can say about the Bladensburg Police Department, I'm not sure where you live, but we have taken the extra step because we do understand sometimes people are not just having a mental breakdown, but they are in some type of trauma. So every police officer in the Bladensburg Police Department, I have sent them to crisis intervention training. So they've all completed a 40-hour class dealing with crisis. Additionally, because we want to save life, that's the goal. We want to save life. Everyone that we can save, we want to make sure that we have a positive outcome. Additionally, we have taken additional steps that we have tools that we utilize, such as the hostage negotiator. We have 3 hostage negotiators on the Bladensburg Police Department. These individuals we will call out to talk people down, de-escalate situations when there's a very bad crisis going on, barricade situations or what have you. Also, we have less than lethal tools that we use. So we have a tool that's called the RAP. We've utilized it. You may have seen it, the whole scenario on the news. It was so effective that the mother of the young man that was experiencing the crisis called the Bladensburg Police Department, but she was fearful that her child, her son, was going to be injured. But when we utilize the remote restraint system that we have called the BolaWrap, this is a system that we can deploy, and it wraps the individual up so that we can go in and get them the help that they need without injuring them. Once we utilize that tool, she came in and actually thanked the police for saving her child's life. That incident made the national news. So we were recognized for being one of the first agencies in this region to deploy the BolaWrap. So it's incumbent upon us to preserve life. That's what we want to do. We understand that when people are going through crisis, on top of sometimes the illicit drug usage. So we have to come out and assess the situation. But at the end of the day, I'm so proud of the men and women of the Bladensburg Police Department, the training that they have, that we very seldom have a use of force when we go out and deal with individuals. So I just want to thank the men and women.
One real quick on that. So, just to specifically address what the gentleman said, we all consider when we call 911 that we're calling the police. We are, in fact, calling emergency dispatch when we call 911. And we have been working to train the 911 dispatchers, because sometimes they will also dispatch EMS, emergency medical service, depending on the description that you might give when you're talking to them. We've also worked to really uplift mobile crisis teams that are more centered with behavioral health providers than they are centered with law enforcement, because it is absolutely true that Chief and his team do a fantastic job, but there are a number of people out there that the law enforcement are triggering in and of themselves. And so it's not going to turn out well if that interaction happens. So just know that this is something that we are actively building, which is the infrastructure to be able to allow for mobile crisis teams to be able to come out and to respond in those instances where it makes much more sense for it to really be a behavioral health, led by behavioral health professionals.
Mr. Morgan, do you have,
Thank you. I was going to echo some of what Senator just said, and that I may be around the stage, but we talked about stigma, we talked about discrimination, but I think we have to also look inside the mental health system, because what you're expressing is a lot of what we have not done as a mental health system. And I appreciate the police force that are here, but if you think about it, when you have a 911 or an illness, mental health is the only one in which the police respond. Why is that? You cannot find in most jurisdictions until just recently a mental health clinic that operates after 4:35. You're directed to call 911. Why is that? We need to take a good look at ourselves. And I say that in the sense that we think of mental health as medication, treatment, but we don't think about the infrastructure. And I'm glad that you're focusing on the infrastructure. I decided to go into administration because I wanted to be the architect and help to fill in that infrastructure. And I don't say that, I used to be director actually of the Mental Hygiene Administration here years ago. And the one decision I made or tried to make that got me in the most trouble is when I asked our providers if they would open up their clinics after 4:30 on Saturdays and the weekends. I was almost run out of the state of Maryland. And when you talk about discrimination, how can you go to the doctor 3 times? How can you go to the doctor 3 times a week at 8 o'clock when you gotta go to work? How do you explain that to the doctor? And it's very few that will even attend to that unless you tell your story, which is a private story. So we need to take a look at ourselves and make some changes. And I'll just say one more thing to put this in perspective. I work at an agency now, and our job is to accelerate the adoption and implementation of evidence-based practices. Because it takes today 15 to 17 years to get research into practice. And there are many, many reasons for that. And that's not saying anything negative about our field. It's just that we need to be more vigilant and take ownership in terms of making sure that we're delivering the best care and we are advocates, not just relying on you family members to be advocates and or our legislators.
Thank you for that, Mr. Moore. We have 2 questions over there to the left.
Hi, well, first of all, thank all of you, filmmaker, and then all of you here as professionals and all the work that you do, young people as well, studying to provide services. Of course, you all saw me on stage, so I try and dramatize so people can have these thoughts and these emotions brought out more. But my question also has to do, because I teach yoga and meditation, things like that, and so from a preventive standpoint of mental wellness, even I don't know of all the resources that I can just refer people to if they want to call information. It's great to have the 988 number as a general resource. If someone's having other kinds of crises, is the 988 number the only number to utilize, or is there another one that provides for a variety of services that could help with mental wellness from both the prevention aspect, media, as well as the extreme and tertiaries? That's what I'd like to know, what those resources are and how we can find out more and then inform our families and communities. Okay, that's for anyone.
Yes, that is a great question as well. Although I do not have a name, but it is the fastest way to get any type of mental health wellness programs is online or on your phone. There are so many people on the phone, so there are all kinds of agencies that you can actually just put in mental health mental wellness, and they will all pop up on your phone, on your computer. And as I speak to the gentleman who had just spoke about resources, places where you can reach someone on the weekend, on a Sunday, a late Sunday afternoon. You see more of those programs that are now coming up, such as myself. On a Sunday, it's typical that you will not find someone as a doctor or as a therapist even on a Sunday. But today you can. If you just look on your phone and you're searching for someone on a Sunday even, someone is there for you to talk to you even for half an hour or 15 minutes, just to make you feel better or to even guide you to where to go next. And although you have your 988, you also have 911. You can also step into any hospital at any given time and state what your case is. I do not feel well, I feel depressed. I may feel suicidal, or I have ideations of doing something to myself. That can be dealt with on any day, at any hour. Your 911, your 988, and also America's Jewels Healthcare. Anywhere you can go, you can put in your phone mental health crises, and something will come up to help you. You press that number, and there you have it. Someone there to help you at that moment, whatever time of day it is, even on a Sunday.
Can I also just share with folks that in addition to that, you can gain access through 988, but we also have 211 that you can also dial. 211ME is the website that really is the way you can get to a variety of different services, health and human services that are available inside of our county, inside of our state, that will get you to a long list and will cover a broad group. And so I would say if someone's in crisis, 988. We try to make these things so they're simple. Crisis, 988. If you're not sure, you're trying to find resources, 211. These are two different places that you can go by phone or online in order to find resources.
Next, I'm gonna go to acting. Yeah, thank you. You can applaud for that. Absolutely, the resources are there. Acting Sergeant Tanksley, and then we're gonna come back to the two questions from the floor. Okay. Okay. And also, 1 second, sorry, Sergeant Tanksley. I would like for the young at the Bladensburg Explorers to be introduced and let them give a few words as well as you will direct them.
Okay. I just wanted to touch base on, is it Mr. Elton? Mr. Carter that made the comment. I just want to piggyback off of what my chief said. You know, one of the things that the movie depicted was support. You know, when people ask for help, the biggest thing about help is support. And if you notice in the movie, he said, "Oh, you willing to help me?" You want to hear, they want to be heard, right? They want to be heard. They want to know that you do care about them. Like my chief was saying, the training that we have, I hope that it changes a little bit of perspective when you call on the Bladensburg police. I can't talk about any other agency, but when you call our agency, we come out with care, right? We've been properly trained to come and to approach the situation the best way, right? It's about meeting that situation where it's needed, not escalating that situation and make it worse. Sometimes some people can come without investigating or evaluating the situation, and they don't understand what they're walking into. So when you call in the Bladensburg officer, we're gonna show up and we're gonna do our evaluation. We're gonna try to make sure we can solve that situation the best way that we possibly can. Yeah, me personally, as a community officer, as a young lady who stood up here and was talking about the resources, that's why it's so important for us to build strong relationships, right? Strong relationships, getting to know your community, getting to know the resources in your community that will open the doors for more opportunity, because what one can't offer, another can offer, right? So hopefully the perspective changes there, that your approach to anything, not just mental health, but your approach to anything has to be correct, and it'll be solved correctly.
Thank you, Kenny.
Let me go for a second before he has to go. I want my Best Actor at the Maryland State Black Film Festival, Fahim Salam, who played Joe. Step out right here, please give him a big hand. Come back to the light, so everybody can see. Right there, there you go. Everybody, please give him a hand. Please.
He's also a Bladensburg High School graduate.
Yeah, he is the best actor in the Maryland Black Film Festival. Everybody, so give him a hand. Go ahead.
Yes, go to the Explorers, please.
Yeah, if the Explorers can stand up real quick, please, you guys stand up. Yeah, we give them a round of applause. This is our feature right here. Guys, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mic off the stand.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Carlos. I'm part of the Police Explorers. Well, I go to Bladensburg High School. I'm in 9th grade.
Why do you like being a part of the Explorers?
I like being part of the Police Explorers because, like, it helps me develop leadership, and it helps me a lot mentally.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Diana. I just graduated, and I really like this program because it helped me build communication skills. I was like very shy, but this time when I joined, it made me communicate with others, and
Yeah, good. Thank you for that.
Hello, my name is Joshua. I'm 17. I also just graduated from I would like to point out the fact that I am not an explorer, but I am a part of the Straight Talk with Teen program. This is also under the leadership of Officer Hinksley. So it's really helped me because at a certain point in my life, I wasn't really sure with who I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. And I can say for sure at some point in my life, I felt as if I was some sort of a failure, but the program has helped shape and mold me into a different person.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Chris. I'm 13. I'm in 7th grade and I go to Williamworth. The reason why I'm in this program is because, well, firstly, my mom forced me to be here. I also go to the Citizens Police Academy with my mom. The reason why basically, the Explorers program has helped me with helping around the community and communication skills. That's all.
Hello, good evening to all. My name is Brandon. I'm 15 years old. I go to Northwestern High School. One reason I like the Police Explorers because, firstly, when I grow up, I want to become a police officer for Bladensburg. And the Bladensburg Police Explorers has helped me a lot in being able to communicate on leadership. It has helped me be more active, be more open-minded. It has helped me in areas that I probably couldn't be able to do by myself without the help of other people. I'm also in the Straight Talk with Teens. I like that program because in that program we learn a lot of stuff about life, about stuff we could do in our lives that could help us become better persons and help us in the area of our mental part. And I really like that, and I encourage for the young people to come and join us and come and see it. You guys will like both of the programs, Police Explorers and the Straight Talk with Teens, because I feel like it could help us, it could help you guys and help everybody and in our future, and it could build us to become a better person.
As I was saying, if other youth want to participate, what's the age group, and do they have to live in Bladensburg, or it doesn't matter if they're out of the Port Towns area? What's the requirements?
With the Police Explorers, it goes from 6th grade to the age of 20. We was blessed, Chief blessed us with a cadet program, so that's the ultimate goal, to try to raise up leaders for the next generation. And then Straight Talk with Teens is more like 13 to 19-year-olds to kind of help them find their identity. And anyone is able to come if they want the help and the support. We got it for you.
All right, thank you for that. Let's give them another round of applause. Positivity, doing some great things. Thank you all so very much. And do you all have any questions? Explorers? Do you all have any questions? No? Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all so very much. Thank you so very much. I'll come here and then, okay, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monique Paris, and I really appreciate your movie. I've worked in the field for over 21 years as a dual diagnosis clinician. HBCU graduate. When you talk about mental health, I'm a boots on the ground type person when I work. I worked for Salvation Army, cleaning Silver Streets. I just did the whole thing. And I've seen them. And I couldn't work in that therapeutic setting. I had to go out in the community. And it's all good, but you heard that man say, I'm not going in there. And you got people right now at this very moment sitting across that Save-A-Lot, just sitting there. They refuse to come in. They're not going in. And the illness won't allow them to. 988, we got a senior geographic here in Bladensburg that mental health has not even touched yet. And that's the worst. And trust me, I know I'm going into the senior phase with a certified addictions counselor mindset. Okay, and I'm looking at this dynamic of people, and they are really hurting mentally. They're hurting mentally. You got people 65, 70 years old that started raising children again. This is a mindset for them, and it's really hurting for them. You got people that have become attached to their pets for over 30 and 40 years, and they drop dead before them. And the senior geographic here in Bladensburg has a lot of more so mental health stuff going on, and they could use an outlet, not all the time 988, because they still don't even know how to work the flip phone. So maybe, doing that for a homeless person or down the street that's got schizophrenia and thinking that everybody's listening to them, they're not gonna call. They're not. And I'm just boots on the ground. I was that way for 21 years until I got lupus, a sarcoma, and it forced me into retirement. It was either stay outside, do what I had to do, or else take care of me. So I chose to take care of me in 02, and I retired from the field. But that still didn't stop me from recognizing the sign. And the older geographic here, they really have a lot. You know, some people say, oh, they just sitting there. No, that ain't they just sitting their ways. Sometimes that stuff is mental for them.
Yes.
You know, you gotta look, you gotta pay attention to how you address certain things. Even with the younger children, that's just how we get. No, sometimes it's a whole different set of rules and terms. And then when you call, they say call 911. This Bladensburg does not have a mental health ride-along program. Now, a lot of cities and towns are requiring, because of the mental health epidemic, that they have a mental health specialist. Because 40 hours, I'm gonna go out there 40 hours up at Howard University, sitting there, there's not 40 hours, ain't gonna do that.
Well, you know what, Miss
And we
Monique?
need a mental health specialist riding around, but we can't cut funds for it.
But Miss Monique, you know, as a matter of fact, you know, the good part about it that I like about this is that, you know, it's sparking conversation. But the other part about it is that housekeeping wise, it's like 7:30. We know we're here. We have it until 8 o'clock, but it's 7:34. So, but the good part is, you know, we're gonna get the questions in. But the good part about it is that I'm just looking at maybe we need to have a part 2. So yes.
The next movie.
Is there a particular question? Because I'm gonna start singing, saying, I'm like, do do do.
Well, thank you all.
But no, but do you have a particular question, Ms. Monique?
Yeah, I did. Can we talk about opening up a dialogue about the geriatric mental health series? Can we just try to open up a little bit about that? Because the older
All right, Ms. Monique.
it's not be setting out right. A lot of times we got mental health
That's
stuff
right.
going on. I'm trying to raise a child, and I was raised a child, and you ain't gonna tell me that ain't gonna help that, you know, gonna work on your mental health.
That's right, so,
People out here that's doing things that, we gotta have an open dialogue.
okay. Now, we're gonna talk about that, okay. Thank you for that. All right.
Good evening, everyone.
I'm sorry, I think you've been waiting. And after this, what I want the panelists to do is let's start formulating our closing remarks so we can wrap up and be respectful to the Publick Playhouse. Yeah, okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sherry Stewart. I'll be quick. I'm piggybacking a few people here about the mental health crisis immediately, not fatality or anything like that. But I've been dealing with a family member who's experiencing a manic behavior. And it's all of a sudden, some days he goes to work and he's fine, and then other days he'll come home and he'll break things in the house, he'll bust the walls. I mean, I'm constantly, you know, trying to help with that. And I called the 988. I have a notebook full of resources. It's not Bladensburg, but it's an entity. I mean, we're all PG County and Bladensburg is an entity. And my question is, like, how do you correlate from one town to the next for some consistency? Because I didn't get any help. The only thing I was referred to do is to go to court and file a protective order. And as the other gentleman said, with the black men and what's going on, I preferred not to do that. So I'm just looking for some help and other resources because I didn't find them with 988 nor 911. Thank you for your time. And thanks, Dwayne, for keeping us woke.
Thank you for that question. One of the places that I always turn to when they are here tonight is to NAMI. They have their building out there, thing out there, and because a lot of times people do call me when they have family members who are in a crisis, they've tried those other places, or the person is not in a crisis, but they know the crisis is coming. That's the more frequent one where it's like, I'm not sure what to do. I know it's coming. And I have found NAMI Prince George's to be a good resource because those are, it's a group of individuals who have worked with family members who are working through mental health conditions. And so they've worked through some of these issues before. So I consider that to be a really wonderful resource for us here in Prince George's County. NAMI, Maryland.
National Alliance on
Mental Illness.
They're out front. They're out
Prince
front.
George's County.
They have a table out
They
front.
got a table right out there.
They have a table out front.
Get some resources from them. They're here tonight.
All right, Dr. McKenzie, you want to chime in real quick? We have 2 more questions,
Okay.
and then we go to closing remarks.
Just want to chime in that we all matter as an individual, and your families matter. If you feel that something is wrong, something is wrong. And there are many resources that you can go to. And I mentioned before, and I still say the same thing, use your phone, use your computer, find someone to help you. Just type in mental health crisis, and a list of places will come to you. Call those places and use the 988 and say what your crisis is. And don't feel afraid to go to the hospital setting to say what your problem is. And you'll be amazed at the help that you will receive. And take good care of yourself. Stay hydrated, feel good about you, and live.
All right, we have one more the question to my left, and then one more question to my right. Then we'll wrap up. I'm sorry, I saw a couple of more people coming up. Let's see, our time right now is 7:39. We have to at least keep our questions and answers to 1 minute, please. Oh, I will say.
Hello, everyone. I just had a quick question for family members that come to health professionals. When we come out with our family member that's going through a mental crisis, and we're being turned away because they're of an age where they have to sign to get that support. And when they do not sign on the dotted line, there's nothing that the medical professionals can do. And so what is it that we are to do if we know that our family member needs help?
This is an ongoing problem that we've had. We passed legislation last year that ensured that at least once in a hospital setting, that a family member will be included in the discussions around the treatment plan. Because you're absolutely right that you're talking like the specifics of when folks have a certain mental illness. Just to kind of provide some of the background on that very briefly, the issue is that we want to make sure that we protect individuals' rights, and this is across the board. And so this is where, this is what gets frustrating for family members sometimes when an individual has, they need to be able to control what happens to their own body. And so that sometimes comes in a situation, as the producer mentioned down there at the end, where a person then decides, well, I feel good, and therefore I don't want to, I don't want to take the medication anymore. So sometimes that becomes a bit of a cycle. There has also been legislation that was passed this year that will allow for some individuals, if they qualify, to become a part of the program where the court will mandate that they take certain medications. So that is now the law in Maryland. It wasn't previously. That was just passed. So there are a couple of new tools that we're trying to develop to help with better health outcomes, particularly when the family members are a part of it.
Thank you, Senator. I have Mrs. Winbush, and then I think she wanted to chime in. You wanted to add something?
Oh, I was just gonna pretty much share the same thing. One of the things we really want to be mindful of is if a person is not experiencing a crisis, then we need to respect their confidentiality. That's a huge part of it. If they are put on a 72-hour hold, then yeah, someone can be involved in that. If someone has a significant illness, then usually they will assign a person to be part of their care, but not engaged in their confidential treatment. So that can happen. One of the things that I keep hearing, and I just really want to touch on this, is it's super important that people are in connection and community, they're cared about, and they are supported. A lot of times we wait until they're in crises to try and engage them and get kind of in that space of understanding and wanting to be a part of it. And if we're aware of this thing that's happening and we're kind of seeing it, then those conversations need to happen proactively, right? Like let's talk about this. How can I show up for you? How can I support you? That's very different than when the person's actually in crisis. And to arm ourselves, right? If we're the supportive person, so let's see how we can invite ourselves along to learn how to respond when they're in crisis, because that's really helpful. And if your person is not engaged in therapy, it's helpful to kind of help them understand the importance of engaging with someone. But not only that, how can I invite myself to be included? I don't need to be in your confidential stuff, but may I please show up in support so I can learn how to communicate with you when you're in that space. Because so often they are not aware, they're not lucid, they're not able to even say anything to you that makes sense until after they come back to baseline.
Okay, so we have one question over to my left, real quick, because our time is at 7:43. One question over to the left. Yes. Well, under a minute. Under 1 minute. Huh? Okay. Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you. My name is Deacon Barbara Jean Newby Gibbons. And Mr. Brown, when your character in the movie introduced herself as Barbara Jean, it brought back a lot of memories for me. My mother's name was Beatrice Newby. My father's name was Lee Andrew Newby, and he committed extreme domestic violence against my mother, which resulted in her being committed to a place called Petersburg in Virginia. Petersburg, as many of you know, was synonymous with the crazy house. And my mother would have probably died there if not for my aunt, who boldly went up to Petersburg and checked her out as her housekeeper. My aunt was blonde with blue eyes. I don't need to say anything else about that. And this is something that stays with you all your life, doesn't it? So I thank you for the film. We have a nonprofit organization. We're comprised primarily of senior citizens. And many of the senior citizens, as the young lady mentioned, are struggling with mental health, dementia, Alzheimer's, and all kinds of things. When you get to be a certain age, they push you back, keep you back, knock you back, so forth and so on. We do what we can, but we're getting a lot of calls from senior citizens and family members, and that's the reason I'm here today, to see what other new resources there are. I want to quickly just take the time to thank Senator Augustine. We have an annual, senior honors program that occurs every February. And we recognize and honor senior citizens. They receive Senator Augustine's attention, this wonderful certificate, she's smiling. And some of the seniors have gone back to school, started businesses, have regrouped, restarted their lives, just because they are being shown love and consideration and respect, and we want to continue to do that as well.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so very much. We're at 7:46 now. I will say that if when you leave, go back to the Bladensburg table if you have a raffle ticket for a giveaway while supplies last. Okay, go ahead. 1 minute. We really are running up against time for the Publick Playhouse. They've been so gracious to us.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you, panelists, for coming out to participate in such a very, very important event. Thank you so much for that. This is my question. In reference to your film, the gentleman that was diagnosed with schizophrenia, one of the very sad things to me was when he could no longer afford his medication. So my question is this: whenever someone gets into a situation like that, is there a possibility of maybe perhaps some resources to temporarily provide medication until they can get hospitalization or go to wherever it is where they can become well again?
Thank you for that question.
So I will pass this on. So let me put a clarity on this. I am a filmmaker. I'm not.
That's all we have.
No, I want to answer her question because she addressed it to me, and it goes with the film. So I wanted a lot of people. I want to clarity that I made this film out of the art and the issue, and that's why I dreamed of this idea right now. Premiering this film and have panelists come up and talk and give out information.
Well, no, I understand.
I appreciate that. So I want to say thank you for acknowledging that, for that question. But I wanted to let people know, as a filmmaker, I don't have all the answers. That's why I lean on people like Ms. Rich. I call her.
That's right, sir.
And then I want to also real quick
Let
say,
me answer, because we're just running,
real quick. When I was shooting this film, I actually had a therapist on my set, you know, walking me through the process and everything. So I just want to say that and pass on to the
If you were, for example, to run out of medications, and let's say, for example, you have schizophrenia, you run out. That is a crisis. That is an emergency. That is permissible in any hospital that you can actually go to. Tell them, show them your medication. Say that you're schizophrenic. You do not have insurance, but you need help. You're hearing voices. You're delusional. You can then be seen right then and there and receive medication, duplicate of what you currently have on an emergent basis.
Thank you very much, Dr. McKenzie. That was very helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, one more real quick question, because we really do have to wrap up. We have to get out of the public. I would, like I said, love to continue the conversation, and I'm glad that it's very invigorating, but we do have to abide by the guidelines.
I'm going to make it really short. Thank you so much for taking the last question. So my name is Pamela. I'm from PG County. My question really has to do with looking at alternatives for medication for those that have mental illness. A lot of people that take medication, honestly, they don't want to take it because of the side effects. And so I'm a holistic person, and I follow that whole, holistic nutrition scenario. So let's talk more about that. Let's talk about ways to look at this issue as something that can be addressed with natural medicine. And thank you all so much. You're wonderful and amazing for
Mrs.
the
English.
issue. Thank you.
Actually, Dr. McKenzie and I are both going to answer this really quick. First and foremost, I do love that people like to seek alternatives, but I will say we don't typically do that with things like diabetes or other things, but we tend to do it with our mental health. Schizophrenia, bipolar mood disorder, certain disorders, you really do want to get medication. It's not a I won't do what you're asking me to do, it's an I can't. And a lot of times we have a disconnect between how we take care of our mental health and our body. So I'll say that piece, and then I'm gonna pass it to you, and then we'll wrap this up.
Some of your severe cases of mental illness, such as schizophrenia and schizoaffective, those you want to go with the conventional because you have a neurotransmitter issue. However, if we're talking about something such as anxiety, depression, panic attacks, there are some homeopathic medications that can help you. Some herbal instances, for example, echinacea, or something, a tea, that could help you to relax. So there are alternatives, but it depends on what the diagnosis is and the level of the diagnosis.
And you know what, and to continue the conversation, Dr. McKenzie, she has a table out back. You can go and get some additional information. America's Jewels Healthcare. We have the PM Foundation and also the National Alliance on Medical Illness. I will start here, and our Chief of Police give a few words so we can wrap up. And I'm like,
I'll be very brief. I want to just thank you, Councilmember Brown, for having the forward thinking and to take on this huge task of putting this together. And I just want to thank the panelists for being up here. And it takes a village. It takes all of us working together from the state level all the way down to the municipal.
All right. I too want to say thank you to Councilmember Brown and the town of Bladensburg for elevating, uplifting this very important conversation. I also just want to say that we need to be more open to talk about it, and we also need to be very clear that with treatment, we can live the full, all of us, we can live the full lives that we want and deserve. And so we just got to make sure that we elevate that amongst everyone, because stigma still is real. We still really are dealing with the fact that people don't want to talk about mental health, mental illness. They don't want to talk, we didn't really talk a lot today about substance use and substance abuse, where people do that to self-medicate. I mean, we got to be real open and honest with each other about that. And I really appreciate the fact that you uplifted that tonight. Tracy, thank you.
thank you.
I just want to say thank you. I echo everything you said. It's been very engaging and robust discussion. And these are the types of forums that will help us get to where we want to be. So just keep it going.
Well, thank you. You want to say something, Doug?
All I want to say is thank you for everybody that came out here and asked these questions. And I hope you guys learned something and got some important information that you guys could use in the future.
Thank you. Okay, all right, Dr. McKenzie. Yes.
Well, I guess I can say one more time to just take care of yourselves. If you feel that you have a need that needs to be dealt with mentally, to seek help within your family setting too. And like this lovely lady said, communication is the key. If you feel that something is going on, if it's not right, you'll feel it. And you'll speak to that loved one and say, let's talk. Maybe I can help. Try that first and foremost. That might save everything and have all of you as a group going to seek help.
Thank
On
you.
an outpatient. Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone for showing up. I want to thank you, Dwayne, as always. And Ms. Brown, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was awesome. You are awesome. Thanks for keeping us together.
It's a team, definitely a team. Where's Ray? It's a team, thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Councilmember Brown, thank you for Mr. Dwayne, and thank you for the panelists and everybody that came out. Hope you got something out of it.
Again, I want to say thanks to everyone for coming out. You could have been doing anything else, for taking in this art that I took time to put together, and this dream that created coming to this topic. Lastly, I had some posters outside. They're free. You take one, I can sign it for you. And shirts are on sale for $15. But no, seriously, thanks everyone, and Dr. Michael, God bless.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. Let's give the panelists and give yourselves a round of applause. You all did a great job. We thank you all for hanging in there with us with all this good information. Hopefully you all learned something. Don't forget